Hey,
Dramatic.
Picture the top on a 6 series going poof. It goes underneath, call it burying the roof. I keep it 100, don't worry about the proof. And I stay chipped up, don't worry about my tooth. Clark Kent flow, I just hurry in the booth. Come out so fly, you would think I had a cape on. Fresh Prince J's, I got them grapes on. I keep killing shit till all the yellow tape's gone. I look like money, resemblance so striking. 28 for the AP, no Viking. Used to pedal that shit, nigga, no cycling. Had Dominican connects, I'm so Dykeman. Nice. Shout out to Tahiri Block, Nimba Me, Range Rover, Canary Rocks, swag from BK, Hayes from Enrique, Dimalo, mommy, it's DK, Loso. Everybody who know what it be, it's your boy Mr. R.I.P. Yeah, you gotta kill these niggas, dead these bitches, you know nigga. Everybody who know what it be, it's your boy Mr. R.I.P. Yeah, you gotta kill these niggas, dead these bitches, you know nigga. Ask them hoes about me, they know how I D.O. Make them open wide for them bills like T.O. Mama said till you find a one, Neo. Keep a hat on your head so I'm on my Neo. Niggas talking Bentley, but be looking Geo. You see the signs of them lying, they ain't even Leos. Just came from Cabo, about to go to Rio. Catch me if you can, Leo DiCaprio, F-A-B-O. I be on them little planes.
Passport tatted up like Lil Wayne. What's going on, everybody? VJs on Sports Like Conduct, live on Spreaker.com. Coming to you guys live from Los Angeles, California. Beautiful sunny day. They said it's going to be hot today. First day of, second day of June. Now the real weather in LA comes out. You get the nice, pretty, bright sun, but it's going to be hot today. What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, VJ, right at hashtag 8515. The Big Vanilla Wave for the Big Vanilla Shack, the Big Vanilla Hanson, the Big Vanilla Color Card. Y'all know all the nicknames. We are on the eve of the NBA Finals. NBA Finals jumps off tonight. Rematch from last year. LeBron James and the Cleveland LeBrons against Steph Curry and the Steph Curry Warriors. That's what I'm calling. That's what they are. They're the Steph Curry Warriors. They ain't Golden State Warriors. They're the Steph Curry Warriors. And they're the Cleveland LeBrons. But that match ends up getting started tonight. We'll talk about the NBA Finals. Not too much. There's not too much, guys, in my opinion, to talk about. I believe sometimes in sports, some things are just really, really predictable. And I think this year most people had Golden State going back to the finals because of the year they had last year, the championship they won, the way they started off 17-0 this year, I believe it was, or 18-0 this year, won the first 17, 18 games, ended up breaking the Bulls' 96 record of 72 wins, 72-10. They went 73-9. Steph Curry won the MVP again unanimously. And then you flip over to the Eastern Conference. I don't think that there's anybody with any right mind that said that if anybody without any major injury, that the Cleveland Cavaliers would be in the NBA Finals out of the Eastern Conference. This is what we've all thought was going to happen. This has been the predictability of the NBA season. There's been some things to get excited about. Not a whole lot to get excited about because at the end of the day, you pretty much knew who would be in the finals this June, which starts tonight. So we'll get into that a little bit. I also want to dig into a lot of this thing that's going on back and forth between Harbaugh and Nick Saban. I'm loving it. Me being a Michigan fan and being a Michigan guy, I've been waiting for Michigan to be good again. I've been waiting for Michigan to matter and to actually how can I say, contribute, I'll say it like that, contribute to college football. I believe certain programs must contribute to college football. I believe certain programs must actually, win. You have to win and contribute to the tradition of college football, the history of college football. You have to contribute to the overall excitement and tradition that comes with college football every single year. And Michigan has not been doing that. Now, sometimes you've been good for so long in college football, time passes on. Bo Schembechler all those years, and that led to Gary Moeller, and that led to Lloyd Carr. Lloyd Carr was a hell of a coach, won a national championship. Moeller got a few Michigan teams to Rose Bowls, but didn't win a national championship. Lloyd Carr won a national championship. Lloyd Carr had a handful, 11-1, 11-2 seasons. Lloyd Carr had a Heisman Trophy winner in Charles Woodson. NFL first round, second round draft picks almost every single year coming off that program. If you want to talk about the tackles and Hutchinson and Remersma, the tight end, and you would talk about Backus at the tackle. I mean, offensive linemen have been Reamer, the center tackles and guards and centers come off that Michigan line and go to the pros all the time. Jake Butt is bringing back the tight end flair. Jeremy Tooman was a Pittsburgh Steeler for years off that Michigan team. Marlon Jackson, Ian Gold. I mean, year after year after year, Michigan mattered in college football. Lately, college football has been dominated by Nick Saban and Alabama, and rightfully so. I'm not an Alabama hater at all. I'm not fond of Nick Saban because I'm a Miami Dolphin fan. And us Dolphin fans have not forgotten about what he's done to the Dolphin, what he did to the Dolphin franchise while he was the coach down there. We've not forgot about that. Of course, he wants to blame it on not being able to sign Drew Brees. He wanted Drew Brees. The owners wanted Dante Culpepper, and we all know how that turned out. Drew Brees got Sean Payton and went on to win a Super Bowl, beating Peyton Manning, the big sheriff, the great white hope of American college and NFL quarterbacks over the last 25 years has been Peyton Manning. Went to Tennessee, good old Rocky Top, Neyland Stadium, played for Philip Former, an All-American good guy. His dad was Archie Manning. People sympathized with him because they watched him get beat up when he played for the Saints all those years. A sympathetic All-American good guy. He has his baby brother come along. Eli goes to good old Southern College, goes to Ole Miss. Doesn't follow his brother to Tennessee, goes to Ole Miss. Ole Miss has never really been, much in college football. They don't matter. It's showing now that recently when they got late, some things are going on down there. Laramie Tunsil said he got money, he got payments. I said the same thing about Mississippi State when they all of a sudden got good and everybody's like, well, no, it's because it's Dak Prescott. No, one player in college football does not make you starting out 9-0, 10-0, 11-0, and the SEC. One player is not going to do that. You need 6 or 7 impact guys that can help you do that, and then you fill in all the pieces around them. That's what Alabama has. I mean, Alabama's running backs are winning Heisman trophies like it's nothing. Like it's nothing. None of them can sniff a yard in the NFL. But their tackles, their guards, their centers, they're all great in the NFL. They all play 10 years. Their linebackers, they all run around making tackles for 8, 9, 10 years in the NFL. Their defensive linemen, they chase quarterbacks and run people down. Go look at the rosters. Go look at the guys that get drafted. Their receivers are starting to look good in the NFL, and they got running back. They have running back after running back come out of that place, but they get to the NFL, can't sniff a yard. Those are always going to be the dominant schools that make an impact on college football. And with Michigan is going through with Jim Harbaugh and satellite camp and craziness and signing day with Brady and Derek Jeter and hanging out with superstars and chilling with Hank Aaron. And I mean, what he is doing is just simply, and I said he would do it. I said he would do it when he got hired there. I said he would do it. And everybody just thought because I'm a Michigan fan, that's why I was saying it. No, it didn't matter who he came back to. If he came back to any national power, I like national powers in college football, guys. I don't get excited when Northwestern's good. I don't get excited when Vanderbilt starts off 5-1. That doesn't do anything for me. I like when Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Texas, Notre Dame, Florida State, Florida, Penn State, Michigan State, Oregon, UCLA. I like Oklahoma. I like when the national traditional powers are good in college football. And that's really the only program, and that's really the only sport I like it like that. Even in college basketball, we live by the Cinderella and March Madness, so you got to watch some of those younger or some of those smaller school teams, mid-major teams during a regular season, or you won't be able to do shit with your bracket because one of them's getting to the Sweet 16 at least. You have to kind of fall in love with a mid-major level in college basketball, or at least watch them a little bit during the regular season. They start out 19-0. They start out 20-0, 21-0. Even a smaller, big-time school like St. Joseph's a while back when they had Jameer Nelson and Delonte West, they started out like 21 or 22-0. Had that magical run to the Elite Eight that year. I like in college basketball when some of the mid-majors and some of the underdogs and unknowns are really, really good. College football, different story. I want the powers. I need Alabama Auburn. I need the Alabama Auburn game. Why watch that game if we know it's going to be 55-6? That game means so much. The college football has so much history in it. It's enriched with so many traditions. When Pete Carroll was out here at USC, it was ridiculous to watch them play UCLA. It was a joke. 66-10. Who wants to watch that in a big time rivalry game? I need the powers to all be good. So when the game, Michigan, Ohio State, the backyard brawl, Pitt and West Virginia, Battle of Los Angeles, Trojans, Bruins, the Red River shootout. I'm not doing Red River rivalry, trying to make a tongue twister out of it. The Red River shootout, Boomer Sooner, Hook'em Horns, Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Virginia, Virginia Tech. I need those teams to be good so it keeps the tradition of college football in the history enriched and going. And that's what Jim Harbaugh is single-handedly doing right now at Michigan. The stars have just aligned, guys. He just happened to be a really good Michigan quarterback when he was there. Well, a great quarterback. He finished second in Big Ten Player of the Year and Heisman voting. I think it was also third one year. I mean, the guy was a tough NFL quarterback, always game, always gritty, always ready to play hard and give you everything that he 100% could possibly give you out of his body in a football game. That was Jim Harbaugh. It just so happens he gets the job back at Michigan. But he's able to be, sometimes the stars just align perfectly. And because he played there, and because his dad coached there, and because he has so many memories, he was a ball boy as a kid, sitting in Bo Schembechler's office, that type of history and tradition is exactly why Michigan college football is top 4 back on the college football map among the big boys. I would say the top 4 teams in the nation right now are Alabama, Clemson, Florida State, and Michigan. Those are the top 4 teams in the college football right now. All traditional, and you throw Clemson in there, but hey, Clemson, it's still a traditional program. They may not have banners hanging from national championships, but they've had plenty of NFL talent, plenty of great coaches. They have a great atmosphere. Their stadium's called Death Valley. They have a rock that you touch when you come in. It's one of the top 25 traditions in college football. I have the book. It's a sporting news book they put together this year. They do it every year. Top 25 college traditions. And Clemson's in there. I believe they're number 15 or 16. I'll take that out of over, 300 programs who run, 100 programs actually. Over 100 programs, like 119 that are Division 1. But I mean, just because a Division 2 school is not Division 1 doesn't mean that their tradition doesn't mean anything, or what they do for the rivalry game during the pep rally on Friday night isn't cool. Sometimes it may be cooler than some of this other stuff we see out here. We saw, Lord rest their souls, we saw Texas A&M, they built the world's biggest bonfire, and one year the shit collapsed and killed people. Cool tradition, but probably not the smartest, safest thing to do. But when you talk about tradition, and you talk about traditional powers and what Michigan is doing and what Nick Saban has been able to do in Alabama, which once again, it's exceptional. I'm not an Alabama hater. I don't mind the Alabama's winning national championships. It makes better for college football because I believe every sport's better when you have a king to chase. Speaking of king, sidebar, do not judge me. Do you guys know I saw Lion King for the first time in my life last night? I had never seen the movie Lion King before. I'm 38 years old. I've never, ever watched the movie Lion King in my life. I now understand so many memes, jokes, innuendos, different little references. I never got it before. I never got it before. The picture of Mufasa and Simba sitting looking over to all the land when he's telling them everything the sun touches is our land. This is all we are the king. You will be one day. This will all be yours. All those little memes I see with sports quotes and with with sports athletes' names and shit. I never got those. I never got because I didn't know what the hell that was. I saw Lion King for the first time last night. Let me tell you something, man. Scar is a piece of shit. Look, they did that. The way Mufasa dies, I had no idea all these years that's how they did that shit to kids. Why would you do that to children? Oh my goodness gracious. Now I would want somebody to tell me, and I'll ask around, and if you want to call in right now, call line's open, 860-614-8257. If like the different groups like they do today, if you do something, if you say the F word for gay, for the gay slur word begins with an F for gays, you're gonna get a call from their coalition or organization, and same thing with gay rights and transgender stuff. They have a group that'll call you PETA as you mess with some animals, and PETA finds out about it, sees it, PETA's gonna be on your ass. Back then, did people get on the maker's ass for that scene? Because that shit was kind of deep, man. Because I thought he had died when Simba's looking all through the stampede for him. I thought he was already dead. And then when he leaps out, grabs up to the wall, scraping, climbing up the wall, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He gonna be good. He must die later in the movie. Because I've heard innuendos, I've heard references. I know Mufasa dies at some point. I didn't know that. But I didn't know that it went down like that. And when Scar dug his damn claws in him, you sack of shit. That was right up there, man. That's right up there with in Juice when Bishop killed G. No, man. Nah. I couldn't deal with that. I can't. Excuse me. Let me go back for a second. When Bishop killed Raheem, G Money, Wesley Snipes, Nino Brown killed G Money. Yeah, that he had to do. We didn't really feel sorry for G Money at that point because G Money was trying to be scamming it. G Money was trying to be dirty anyway. But the way Bishop killed Raheem was fucked up. He tried to kill Q, tried to kill Still, like the way he lured Still into the battle. I was almost like, come on, man. You gonna do it like that? I had no idea that all these years, that movie came out in 1994, I want to say. I had no idea, man, that Hakuna Matata, and the fact that he kept Pumbaa, and I forget the other little thing, the little muskrat thing, he kept him with him. When I saw them on the hill with him at the end, I'm like, oh, and he kept his homies with him that looked out for him when he was out there all those years in the jungle, man. Like, I'd never seen the movie before. I was so shocked at how Mufasa died, yo. As a kid, you can't do that to children. What the hell is wrong with people? There's a really cute video out, and this is actually my homeboy, man, from back east. It's just one of my friends I know that happened to go viral. Everybody knows about this video. It's this little girl watching Lion King, and her father's recording her, and she sees Mufasa die for the first time. So as the build up in the part, but they're just showing her. They're not showing the movie. They're just showing her sitting on the sofa. And once everything goes down, her eyes well up and water up. Her tears drop down. And her dad's like, what's wrong, honey? And she won't answer him. And she stared at the TV. She drops her head to the side. Like, you said Mufasa died? And she shakes her head. Yeah. You want to come over and sit on daddy's lap? She shakes her ear and gets a little blanket that she has and comes and crawls up on daddy and sits on his lap while they're watching the movie. Like, why would you do that to children? I almost lost it last night. Now, I mean, I already knew he was going to die, so I'm already prepared for that. But I looked at Raynell. I said, yo, are you kidding me? I see why grown people say they cried at the Lion King. I totally 100% understand it now. Before, I'm like, cried at the Lion King? Like, you cried at the animated movie, dog? Like, come on, man. Yeah, I don't know. And in 94, I was 16, 17 years old. Depends on what month the movie came out. I don't know how I would have handled that. And they built Mufasa up. It's like, it's James Earl Jones. I never knew he did the voice. I never knew that was James Earl Jones. That's King Jofi Jafar, man. Get what your Coming to America references. That's King Jaffe Jofar, man. They built them up. Mufasa even saved them from the hyenas. And I picked out Whoopi Goldberg's voice. She played one of the hyenas. I'm like, damn, people got paid in this movie, man. That's why people like Whoopi was at a TV probably for a while. Like when you do a voice in The Lion King, You know how much damn money that thing is you know how much damn money that thing has made? Now I totally 100% understand. I'd watch it again. James Earl Jones, Matthew Broderick. And I said out loud. So no wonder after Ferris Bueller, we kind of disappeared and we didn't see Matthew Broderick until Godzilla, and then we didn't see him again until Cable Guy. But all the money he probably made off, I mean, he is Ferris Bueller. You don't even think of Matthew Broderick. To this day, that man is Ferris Bueller. Ferris Bueller is still the best teen school cut, class cut movie of all time. There's nothing better than Ferris Bueller. Ferris Bueller had everything in it, except for some more black people. It was no black people that lived in that town. I didn't see none. Charlie Sheen gave us a glimpse into what his future would look like 25, 30 years later. Remember Charlie Sheen in the police station? All punked out, 80s style punked out, all black. Looked like he's drunk as hell. Jeremy Irons, Cheech Martin. You have Cheech Martin's in the movie. The dude who plays Benson, he does the voice of Rafiki. And now I get the Rafiki references. The meme with him sitting down with his hands, with his thumbs and his fingers touching, and he's sitting Indian style. I've seen so many memes with all these different statements about. I had no idea what that shit meant at all. No idea. And I know we're getting off topic right now, but this is Lion King. Like I finally saw the Lion King for the very first time in my life. I'd never seen any parts of it. I've heard references. Everybody know Mufasa dies. The whole circle of life thing, the hyenas, like I said, Hakuna Matata. It was, it was very, it was very educational. It was very exhilarating. It was. I was excited to sit and watch. And I watched it late too. I didn't start it. It's about 11 p.m., man. And I actually want to watch a movie. Sure, we're going through the Fire Stick. I got the Amazon Fire Stick going through that. And she's like, oh, they have Lion King on here. And I didn't know she was a huge fan of Lion King. She's never mentioned it to me. We don't have it on DVD. She's never purchased it or bought it. She said she had it twice. She said she bought it 2 different times. And for some reason, it keeps coming up missing. I know why. One of her friends is taking that shit. It ain't me. I ain't take it. I ain't never watched it. I ain't know what was going on with it. Somebody taking the shit. But I'm buying Lion King. Next time I see Lion King for like $8.99... $4.99 in the bin at Walmart. You damn right. I might buy 2 copies. Just in case when one gets scratched up, you got the other one. I never, ever thought that movie was going to be that great. Now I see why there's a Broadway play. Now I see why there is reference after reference of Simba and Rafiki and Mufasa. Like, the lion. I mean, just the whole movie itself, the hyenas. Then Pumbaa and Timon, then they get their own cartoon? Like, they spun that off. I thought those 2 guys were hilarious in the movie last night. The movie was funny. Now, when I was a kid, at that time, Aladdin's 92. Aladdin was my shit. Aladdin was my recite every line, can sing every song, can tell you all the voices, the actors' names and actresses of all the voices. To this day, when a whole new world comes on, I still listen to a whole new world. Rest in peace, Robin Williams. When Robin Williams died, the picture I posted was a picture of the genie. I didn't post a picture of Robin Williams. I posted a picture of the genie. That was my shit to me, was Aladdin. Aladdin was 2 years earlier than that. Lion King's 94, Aladdin. And then, of course, you had, just the astronomical ones, especially when Pixar got involved. When Pixar got involved, it changed the game. Finding Nemo, I can't wait to go see Finding Dory. Finding Nemo, though, is like my absolute favorite animated movie of all time, along with Aladdin. Aladdin would be number 1, Finding Nemo number 2. I guess you could throw maybe like Shark Tale in there. All the Shreks, I think, are outstanding. Kobe Bryant is also giving some free agent advice for Kevin Durant. Quoted by Kobe, said, you just got to look at it holistically. What does he want out of his career? What opportunities present themselves? When I was a free agent, I guess he goes on to say here, I did my due diligence, I guess. Screen's taking a while to change. There we go. I did my due diligence. I looked at every opportunity, and I left no stone unturned. I was just fortunate things worked out for me in Los Angeles. Yeah, fortunate. See, that's the humble Kobe. People say that that's not there and that he's not. The guy was just an animal when he was a player, man. That was just his thing. He was an aloof guy. He was an aloof animal. Doesn't mean that's who he was as a person. It's who he was to get through 20 years of the NBA, of all the ups and downs, all the love and hate, the championships, the failures, the game-winning shots, the game-winning misses, the injuries. Do you realize what you have to do to yourself mentally to put yourself through 20 years of that? And most of you don't, and I don't. I haven't done it, but I have an idea. I've seen it done now. And I've seen pure reaction from other players now that he's not around anymore. The advice he's texting Draymond Green. I don't hear Draymond Green saying, I don't like Kobe. He's texting and reaching out to Kevin Durant. I don't hear Kevin Durant saying, I don't like Kobe. These young guys in the league, if you want to, I'm telling you, man, the NBA is always going to pick one guy to ride in no matter what. Things are going to normally work out his way. And that's LeBron James right now. If you're not LeBron James, you have to actually really go win you a championship. He was the only guy that really was able to kind of construct his own team, his own kind of, he couldn't do the coaching staff. He does it now in Cleveland, but he couldn't do it in Miami. And that's one reason why I thought he left. He couldn't get Spoelstra fired. He didn't want to play for Spoelstra anymore. He was butthurt about getting his ass kicked. Or they, not just him, they got their ass kicked in that series against the Spurs. They lost in 5. When you lose in 5, you get your ass thoroughly kicked. And then Wade got the blame for it. But anyway, back to Durant, these other free agents this year. First of all, none of these guys should go anywhere. Durant should sign a 1-and-1. He should sign a 1-and-1. Or he needs to take a long-term deal with Oklahoma City now. He's had that foot injury. That thing could creep back up, and he could be shit out of luck. But if I were him, I'd stay. Regardless of what you're going to do, or how you're going to do it, I should say, what you should do is stay. I think Kevin Durant should stay right there in Oklahoma City. It will entice Westbrook to stay right in Oklahoma City, even though there's the rumors that he wants to come play home. He's from L.A., He's from Inglewood. He wants to come play home. He wants to come play for the Lakers. But he's not going to come play for the Lakers if the Lakers are no good. If the Lakers are no good and the Lakers have no shot, Russ Westbrook he's not going to come play here. That I can guarantee you. So when you think about these other free agents that are up here, when you think about some of these other free agents that are out here also too this summer, I say to a lot of these guys, stay where you are. You know, whether you're going to do a 1-on-1 for the new TV deal, or I don't really see any player leaving that's going to change the super landscape without bringing like 2 or 3 other guys with him. That will change the complete landscape of those teams that they left, which could change the complete landscape of that division in that conference. We saw that happen when the Heat got put together. It totally changed the lanes. It made Cleveland just a doormat. It made Toronto just a doormat. The Western Conference is still always going to be strong because all the Spurs guys stay. All the Spurs guys stay, so the Spurs are always going to be strong. If you notice, the Spurs don't lose anybody. That's why the Spurs stay strong. They don't lose anybody. The Golden State stays together, they're going to stay strong. You know why the Lakers ended up being able to go to 3 more finals? Because Kobe Bryant stayed. If Kobe Bryant leaves, there's no player you can replace him with. Even when the Pistons offered the trade for, I believe it was Rip, Tayshaun Prince, and a third player. It was another starter. It wasn't Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed would have stayed, so Kobe would have went up there, played with Rasheed. There's a few other players that would have still been there. Wouldn't have been the same team. Detroit wouldn't have won that champion. They definitely wouldn't have went back to those finals, but it was after they won their championship. After Detroit won the championship is when that trade was proposed. If Kobe leaves, even if you get all those guys, the Lakers are never the same again. You guys don't even get the end of that Kobe run. You guys don't get those 3 finals appearances. You guys don't get those 2 championships. I don't know. Shit, maybe the NBA does let you guys have Chris Paul at that point. Maybe you do get Chris Paul and Dwight Howard together at one point there. But Chris Paul has never won anything, and neither has Dwight Howard. And you're still in the Western Conference. Obviously, the tougher conference. Everybody can see that. I looked up a stat that was very interesting to me talking about conferences and players and rankings. Do you guys understand? Go look at the all NBA teams. Go look at all three of them. Go look at the all NBA teams, guys. Tell me how many from the Western Conference and how many from the Eastern Conference. It's not close. Last year it was 11 to 4. 11 of the three, because there's 3 teams. Come on, basic math, guys, from first and second grade. Mrs. Johnson's math class. 5 times 3 is 15. 11 of those players were from the Western Conference. Only 4 were from the Eastern Conference, and 3 were from one team. Kyrie, LeBron, and Love were all NBA players last year. First, second, third team. That's left one spot for one other guy in the Eastern Conference. If you want players to start moving around, make the league mandate we even out the conferences now. Or do realignment or something. When the playoffs start, realign the records, man, or something. We can't continue down this road. We just can't. Got a call coming in from Simi Valley right now. I think it's my man Louis Estrada. You're live right now. VJ's on Sports with Lyconda, Spreaker.com. You're on the mic. What's your beef?
Mr. VJ, right? Of course, you know what? I'm sitting here, I'm cooking my breakfast. You can probably hear my eggs, up on the grill right now. And I see your post last night about watching The Lion King. I hear you coming on with it. You know I got to call in because that's my era right there, baby.
Yeah, man, I do. That was my first time. I never have ever had any want or notion or thrill to watch Lion King. By the time it came out, I was about 17 years old. So to me, it was always like a kid cartoon kind of movie. I didn't know it was that great. Like I said earlier, I now completely get all of the innuendos. I don't know if I can ever watch it again, though, because the Mufasa scene pissed me off. And I'm a grown-ass man. I was sitting in here mad last night. I wish if Scar, I'd beat the shit out of Scar right now.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny. The first time I saw that, the first thing I thought it was, how can you do that to Darth Vader, man?
Yeah, exactly. I picked up on that early in the movie. I'm asking Raynell. I'm like, yo, is that James Earl Jones? She was like, yep. She was like, just wait till you. She's seen it 1,000 times. She knew every song. She was lip singing every song last night. It was more like a throwback moment for her because it was one of her favorites. Other than she said, Little Mermaid's number 1 for her, and then Lion King's number 2 as far as animated cartoon movies go. So she was, just keying me in. She's like, wait till you hear this guy's voice and this guy. And I picked out, I missed Matthew Broderick. When I saw the credits roll, I'm like, Matthew Broderick. Oh, when he was the older Simba, I'm like, oh, God, that was him. But, I mean, now, dude, I get it. Like, I totally 100% get it. It has all come full circle to me. That recently just happened with something else. There was another movie that I've never watched before. It was an older movie. Oh, no, I know. Yeah, I know what it was. Star Wars. I finally got through the first one. I had to watch the first one like 3 damn times because the shit jumps around on me and I don't know what the hell's going on, so I had to restart it. But I got some of the innuendos. I understand Death Star now. The movie starts like Spaceballs. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. They started their movies like Spaceballs did. Everybody's like, no, asshole. Spaceballs started their movie like Star Wars did. But I've seen Spaceballs like 1,000 times. I love that damn movie, but I've never seen Star Wars.
Right. I'll tell you what, you're taking me back. When you start talking about animated films, I go back and you start talking about like The Lion King, right? The Lion King, I was, 18, 19, so I was taking girls on dates to go see the damn Lion King.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I was taking them to go see Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast. Why? Because it was cute, the music was pretty good, and you know what? The girls kind of liked that little romantic thing. You could get really kiddie and, go back to your childhood a little bit and not feel too bad about going to go see a cartoon in a movie theater for a date. It was great. Lion King, probably my third favorite animated film, behind Robin Hood and Aladdin. Those are probably the two.
Aladdin's the shit. Aladdin's untouched. Aladdin's unmatched.
Oh, absolutely. That one's like I said, my number 2 favorite. My number 1 favorite is Robin Hood. Always has been. I've always been fascinated with the story of Robin Hood and the 1973 Disney film that. With the fox and everything, I loved it. I thought it was great. So,
Prince of Thieves is one of my top. I would say Prince of Thieves is one of my top 10 or 15 favorite movies of all time.
Oh, Prince of Thieves is on another level.
Yeah.
You've got Kevin Costner, who is really good. Morgan Freeman's fantastic.
Yep.
And who can never forget Alan Rickman?
Yep.
Alan Rickman, the late, great Alan Rickman, rest in peace.
Yep.
Such a phenomenal actor, such a great villainous actor. And when you talk about Alan Rickman, you're talking about the Sheriff of Nottingham. You're talking about Hans Gruber. I mean, when you talk about villain and villainous actors, he's one of the absolute best.
Yeah, well, didn't he do? Who did Skarsgård? Isn't that the same guy, the bad guy from Die Hard?
No. That's Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons was in. He does have a link to Die Hard. He was in Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure that I gotten that. But you're right. The Sheriff of Nottingham. That guy, great actor. He played that part outstandingly. The movie had some comedy to it. The movie had seriousness. Kevin Costner was doing his thing right at that point, man. In Hollywood, he was a well after sought actor, all the way to Maid Marian and just the whole storyline. Big John, Little John, all those guys, man. I thought the movie was outstanding. Excuse me. I hope they never try to redo it and reprise it. They did it. They did it. They did. I didn't watch that second version that came out. I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago. And I remember somebody asking me why I don't want to see it. I said because I don't. There's certain movies, in my opinion, you don't reprise and you just don't touch. And I thought Prince of Thieves was one of them.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll take you a step further, DJ. You want to go back and see a really good Kevin Costner's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, fantastic. But there's one, in my opinion, that's a little bit better. It is a little bit cheesy, but it's a lot older. And it's a 1938 film. It's called The Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn. If you get a chance to see it, I'm telling you, it is absolutely fantastic. It was a made-for-TV movie way back when. This is before TV. VJ, I'm telling you, it's by far my favorite Robin Hood movie of all time. It's fantastic. The swordplay, the scenery, the acting, everything in it's fantastic. So if you ever get a chance to see it, Google it. It's called The Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn, and it's absolutely fantastic.
I'll definitely get a chance to check that out, man. Probably later this summer once all this NBA final stuff and the rest of the stuff cools down, and I actually get a little time to actually watch some TV. Quick question for you since you called in. I mean, I know you probably got a quick second here. I was talking about Harbaugh and Nick Saban and college football and me being a diehard Michigan man for all my life, college football-wise. I said when he took that job over that he would change college football. All my SEC school friends laughed at me. All my friends, we're the SEC. You guys will never be good. Michigan, even Ohio State fans. And lo and behold, if not, opening game against Utah last year, Jake Rudock throws a pick six when they're down 3, moving downfield to probably get his high field goal or go for the lead in the fourth quarter. He throws a pick six in that opening Utah game. First game on the field, kids play tough, but we saw as the year went on, blowout after blowout, shutout to shutout. If the punter catches the damn ball in the Michigan State game and punts the ball away, they win that game. Ohio State was just better than us, and you could tell that within the first 5 minutes of the game. They still have more athletes that have been under the same system longer than Michigan, and they had Ezekiel Elliott, and that was the difference in that game. But they were easily a team that could have been 11-1 last year. They're snatching top running back, top quarterback, top D tackle, top athlete, Alabama's top prospect, Georgia's top prospect. Then comes the satellite camp. Then they ban the satellite camp. Then they unban the satellite camp. And now Saban is bitching and pissing and moaning and crying like Saban does because he doesn't want anybody in his area. 2 questions for you. Number 1, is college football being changed by Jim Harbaugh? And number 2, that whole these are my guys kind of thing, that's got a little bit of a slavery tone to it, man. I don't like that shit. And being that it's coming from the South, and in Alabama and Nick Saban, I really don't like it. Your thoughts on both of those?
Well, that's the first question. Is Jim Harbaugh changing college football? Absolutely. We saw the success that he had over at Stanford, and that was no mistake. Stanford, up until that point, they were a decent program, but they weren't a college power. They weren't a team or a school that was going to sit there and challenge the likes of Oregon and USC and Alabama and all those schools before Jim Harbaugh got there. And I remember when Jim Harbaugh was even hired over there at Stanford, people were kind of like, he might do okay. He had a little bit of success at San Diego, but at San Diego, Let's see if he can do it with the big boys. And then they go into USC at the Coliseum. They beat them. And I think they were like 40-point underdogs.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, everybody said, whoa, there's actually something going on here. That's something we need to pay attention to. And that kind of was the ascension of Jim Harbaugh. Then he goes to the NFL, to the San Francisco 49ers. And he turns that franchise around.
Who were winning 4 games a year, 4 or 5 games a year for like 8 straight seasons.
Absolutely. They could do nothing right. And, the 49ers were once a very proud franchise, and all of a sudden they couldn't do anything. Jim Harbaugh gets there. He turns them around. Then, all of a sudden the quarterback thinks he's a little bit better and wants to run a different style, and he gets Harbaugh fired. So, okay, fine. So what does he do? He goes back to Michigan, goes to his alma mater. And you and I talked about this the day he was hired. I thought it would be really good. I think Jim Harbaugh is a very, very good college football coach. He's got that swag. He's got that presence. He's big. He's won in the NFL as a player. He won in college as a player. He's won at college as a coach at 2 schools. He went to the NFL and he won immediately. He's got the pedigree. People want to play for him.
He's a questionable incomplete pass that could have been pass interference and putting the ball at the 1 with Frank Gore in the backfield from winning the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. So he's won everywhere. He's done it all. He really has. So people see that and they say, hey, he's going to get me to that next level. He's going to help me achieve that. And all of a sudden, you've got now Michigan, who, is a traditional power, but let's be real. They haven't been much of a threat the last, 5-10 years?
10 years. Easy. I'll tell you that myself, dude. It's been disappointing over the last decade to be a Michigan fan. I can tell you that. I can be honest to tell you that. Hell yeah. Go on.
Absolutely. And what's happened in the last 10 or 15 years is the SEC has taken over what used to be the Big Ten spot. The Big Ten used to be the it conference in college football. Not anymore. Why? Because the conference has kind of come down, the SEC has come up, and all of a sudden the SEC is being challenged again. They're being challenged by somebody who's not one of them. You'll think back to the alignment a few years ago. Texas A&M was coming up, and they were in the Big 12. All of a sudden, they extend the olive branch and say, hey, we see you're getting pretty good. Why don't you come join us over here in the SEC? And Texas A&M bites. They bite and they go. Fine, that's what they want to do. But the SEC wants to have this control and this belief that they are by far the better conference, and they want to keep it that way. I get that. Who doesn't want to keep it that way? Who doesn't want to keep their conference up top? But anytime they are threatened, whether it's by a USC, whether it's by an Oregon, and now a Michigan, all of a sudden people start kind of getting a little itchy, getting a little cranky, want to see what you're doing, and then all of a sudden they kick you out. They kick out the SEC, and all of a sudden the SEC is in the house saying, hey, why can't we go? Why can't we go do this when they've been blocking people out for years? All of a sudden the tables have turned a little bit, and it's just one program right now. It's just Michigan. Why? Because they're a threat. They're a threat to the way the SEC does football. They're a threat to the SEC's, if you want to call it monopoly or stranglehold on college football. They don't like it. So they want to try to infiltrate it and stop it as much as possible. I firmly believe they don't see Ohio State as much of a threat, even though Ohio State did just win the national championship, not last year, but the year before. But I don't think they think that Ohio State has the longevity to be there year after year after year. Michigan with Harbaugh, they absolutely do. So I think they're scared. I absolutely think they're scared. And the leader, the only guy that, with the pedigree in the SEC to say anything he wants and to get away with it, is Nick Saban. That's why he can run his mouth. But the problem is he's scared. I firmly believe he's scared because Jim Harbaugh can go into any house and he can recruit the pants off of anybody. And he's a threat to Nick Saban. He's a threat to Alabama. He's a threat to the SEC. And I firmly believe that the winds are going to change here in college football in the next couple of years, and you're going to start to see more of an influx in both the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. But the Big Ten specifically is going to be a direct relation of Jim Harbaugh.
Well, and the Big 12 also, too, not just the Pac-12, but the Big 12 still, I think Charlie Strong is going to get Texas back. Oklahoma, we just saw in the playoff, Oklahoma has a dominant program again. There's some other schools out there, and the SEC is what they are. I've enjoyed watching Florida. I've enjoyed watching Les Miles is a Michigan guy. He played there. He graduated there. He's a coaching assistant there. I love seeing LSU when LSU was good. For a while, they've been DB and receiver U. And you think about all the starting defensive backs in the NFL right now, they made the top 100 list, and then the receivers from the LSU and the NFL that made the top 100 list. There's like 8 players from his era there and his time there that are in the top 100 list players as a defensive back or as a receiver in the NFL right now. So when you look at the SEC, they are who they are, and I want them to be good. I don't want the SEC to fall. I'm a type of guy, I don't want Ohio State to be bad. I want Ohio State to be at their top game. So when Michigan wins the Big Ten, then it means more. It's just like in the SEC. They feel like they go through the best schedule. I disagree. I think the SEC, like any other conference, has really 2 really, really dominant good teams. Yes, we've seen Mississippi State jump out to 9-0. We've seen Ole Miss jump out to 8-0, 9-0, 10-0. But we've seen over the last 3 weeks of the season, they lose back-to-back games, or they play the tougher competition, they play the tougher teams, and they don't get the job din. Alabama is still winning the SEC championship, or LSU still ends up winning the SEC championship and going on to play, in the playoff or for the national championship game. What Saban's been able to build there is amazing. It's outstanding. But my thing about Saban is you're bitching and complaining, and it's basically the way it comes off to a guy like me is these are like it's more like this. These are my kids. This is you don't own shit. These college coaches think they own these children, man, and it pisses me off. And Nick Saban, and he's always bitching when it was Chip Kelly running a play every 13 seconds. Oh, this is not safe for the kids. No, it's not that. You just don't like it because you haven't figured out how to do it yet. But look, they bring in a quarterback who now starts to run a little spread. They add it to a game. And then he gets heralded for, you see, that's awesome. Nick Saban's willing to change. Nick Saban's willing to adapt. He was just bitching and complaining about this because he didn't have the pieces. Now that he has the pieces, of course he's not going to complain about it. Satellite camps. You can go run satellite camps wherever you want to. You just don't have to because you're in the South. You're going to get a plethora of kids that want to play at Alabama just on the history alone, just playing at Bryant-Denny Stadium, just playing in the shadows there and of the ghosts of Bear Bryant and all the legendary players that have come through Alabama. I get it. But Harbaugh has figured out I can go down here and recruit these kids and bring them out of here because, listen, there's no secret. If you want to compete with the SEC, you got to have some of their kids. You're not going to be able to, if you're Pac-10, if you're Oregon, you can't compete getting kids from Washington, Montana, Idaho, Nevada. I mean, they raid Los Angeles. Oregon comes down here and steals prospect after prospect from the Bruins and the Trojans time and time. DeAnthony Thomas, known as the Black Mama dubbed by Snoop, he was a Pee Wee League star, Pop Warner star, and high school mega superstar at a Long Beach Poly. He didn't go to SC. Yep. He didn't go to UCLA. Chip Kelly was able to pull that kid out of here, out of the hood of Eastside Long Beach, and bring him up to Oregon. And see, that's what Harbaugh's doing. Harbaugh now has Alabama's top-rated players at certain positions decommitting and reopening their recruiting. That's simply because of him. That's changing. Yeah, that's changing college football. This is just a little ferociousness with this because of the people that laughed at me and just thought I was just, you're just being a Michigan. I said, dude, I would have said this if he didn't went to any major power. Do you not realize? Have you not paid attention what Jim Harbaugh has done? Yes, the guy's aloof. Yes, the guy's a little wacko. Yes, he's a little weird. Yes, him and Colin had one of the most uncomfortable radio interviews in the history of radio at ESPN. But then you saw him at the Super Bowl last year sit face-to-face and talk. And he said, listen, man, Colin I thought was really classy. This is a lot better than last time. My fault. Jim Harbaugh took the high road and said, well, I had a part in that too, buddy. And that's the past. Well, we'll move on. I love your show. I think you do a great job. And now Harbaugh thinks the world of him. Yesterday, he went on a crazy rant talking about how scared Saban is. And he finished it, and I'll finish it the same way. Nick Saban, you should be scared because he's snatching all the 2 years ago, Deshaun Gary, the top #1 player, defensive tackle, who people are calling a definite surefire first-round pick in the pros. The kid is huge. He's big. He's fast. He's mobile. He just wrecks offensive lines. Nick Saban had him in his back pocket until Jim Harbaugh showed up at his house. He flipped the number one player. He flipped the number one running back. Rashawn Gary, the running back was going to the number one running back. He was an Ohio State commit. He had already committed to Ohio State. He pulled him right. He pulled him right out of Columbus, and the kid enrolled early. He'll be carrying the ball opening day this year with Drake Johnson when they open up against Hawaii. I mean, what the man is doing, and see, college football, Luis, it needs this, in my opinion. We need traditional powers to hate each other, to go back and forth, to throw shade at each other, to throw little comments through social media at each other. We need this because guess what? On Saturday, shall you ever face that team at the end of the day, and this is why I love football, you can't run and hide, baby. You got to buckle that chin strap. You got to strap on them damn shoulder pads, homeboy, and you better have your breakfast and your protein shake because it's men out here today. All that talking you was doing on the internet. See, in the NBA, basketball, other sports, baseball, hey, you can throw at a guy. Maybe the guy dodges it. You don't really hit him. He gets to take a base because you get a warning. Referee, the umpire warns him. You don't really get a chance to get at guys in the NBA because they don't even let you foul hard. But in football, dude, you talk shit to me. I don't have to be dirty. I don't have to cheat. I don't have to go out of my scheme. But at some point or another, if you're on offense or mom defense or vice versa, homeboy, you got to see me today at some point.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what the thing with football, like you said, you're going to have to line up and hit. And even if it's not, let's say you're both on offense, there's going to be a cornerback, if you're a receiver, on the other side who's going to stick up for his guy. There's going to be a defensive lineman who's going to stick up for his guy and maybe talk a little trash to you when he sacks you or when he hits you out of bounds. It's going to happen. So football's one of the few sports, hockey's another, where if you're going to talk the talk, you better be prepared to walk the walk because it's coming. And it's going to come to you hard, it's going to come to you fast, and it's going to come to you when you least expect it. And like you said, I'm not saying it's going to be dirty, but it's going to happen at some point during the game. You can absolutely, to quote Roman Reigns, you better believe that.
and I tell you this, man, and I don't want it dirty. See, that's what I love about it. I don't like dirtiness in sports. I don't like cheaters. I don't like PEDs. I don't like HGH. I don't have any respect for players who cheat. I don't like it. Especially when it comes to PEDs, okay? PEDs. If people, of course, people will say, well, Tom Brady deflated the dude. That's not cheating. That's I don't even know if that's bending the rule. That, in my opinion, that's just liking your football a certain way. Aaron Rodgers said he likes it overinflated. He didn't get in trouble. So it's almost like stick 'em on gloves. It's like, okay, I don't care about it. But then, it doesn't bother me, but it doesn't not bother me. It just is what it is. It's like, you still got to catch the ball. I don't care if you got stick 'em on or not. If that free safety barreling down on your ass and that ball touches your hand, that stick 'em is not going to keep the ball on your glove because you got hit by that free safety or that strong safety that was waiting for you to run that route again that you beat him on in the first quarter. But I don't even want it dirty, dude. I just like it when it's clean, physical, fun. And I'm telling you right now, the national championship game we need this year, which would be the most highest rated national championship game or probably college football game of all time, would be if Michigan played Alabama. Oh my goodness. And it would be in the Rose Bowl. It'd be in the Rose Bowl, so it'd be in front of over 100,000 people. It would just be, and both colleges got to travel. There's no home region. There's no home region advantage or anything like that. You both got to travel out here to LA. You got to come to LA from Michigan, from Alabama. They'll put 55,000 tickets out for Michigan, 55,000 tickets out for Alabama. You'll get your 121. They'll pack them in as much as they can. College football needs a national championship game like that where you got both coaches going at each other. You got one coach taking recruits and players. You got another coach that doesn't like it. Alabama's still a power. Alabama's still going to matter. Alabama's still going undefeated or maybe lose one game this year. Same with Ohio State. Michigan hasn't figured out. I don't talk shit to Ohio State fans yet. We haven't beat them. But Ohio fans, They're not talking as much shit about Michigan as they have been the last previous year. And I bring that up to some of them. I'm like, I know this shit been kind of quiet. One guy kept it real with me. He said, VJ, I'm a smart man like you are in football. We've had you guys, but I can see what's going on in Ann Arbor. We're still Brutus Buckeye, blah, blah, blah. We're still this and that. And I told him, I said, you're right. You guys are still formidable. You guys have JT Barrett this year and nobody else does. I can see a playoff spot coming down to Michigan and Ohio State game. What I hate, though, is that whoever made those divisions were stupid as hell. Whoever put Michigan and Ohio State in the same division when they split the division in the Big Ten was stupid to do that. Because why would you pass up the chance of having two Michigan-Ohio State games? We had to watch the same two teams play again in the SEC championship before. We've had to watch it in the ACC championship before. But in the Big Ten, to have Michigan State, Michigan, and Ohio State all in the same conference is a travesty. Because even if one beats the other, you still have a shot at that game in Indianapolis, the Big Ten championship game, or where they played at Ford Field this year, I believe. You still have a shot to get a Michigan, Ohio State primetime revenge game from whoever lost the game previously, which would have been 2 weeks because they always play last. Conference championship game is 2 weeks later from that, so they would have just played 2 weeks ago. And somehow you get them back in the conference championship game again. I just don't understand who did that and who put that together.
Well, I'll tell you, I can kind of see why they did it, just so that they could play every year. Because we're kind of going through the same thing here in the Pac-12 since the realignment. You know, you've got the North Division, you've got the South Division, but you don't always get the USC versus Oregon or the USC versus Stanford or the UCLA and Oregon because they're in different divisions. So you play everyone in your division every year.
But that's fixable. That's fixable, though, Luis. That's fixable. You could do. I get what you're saying. You can rotate, but for instance, in the Big Ten, Michigan every year, in my opinion, must play Minnesota. They play Minnesota for the Little Brown Jug. They must play Michigan State because it's the damn game. It's the rivalry game. It's the interstate game. It's the Paul Bunyan Axe. And Ohio State. They don't have to play Illinois every year. They don't have to play Indiana every year. Those are the teams you rotate. They can do the same thing here with the Pac-12. Why the hell don't you have Oregon and USC playing every year? Or USC doesn't have to play Oregon State every year. They don't have to play Washington State. Those are the teams you rotate out. You don't take the big matchups away. I just think that could be fixed. I understand what you're saying about divisions, but I feel like that could be fixed. They do it in the NBA. They make sure certain teams play another team 4 times, but they only play another team 3 times. They make sure you got to get, I need the Spurs and Golden State to play 4 times. We need Portland and Oklahoma City to play 4 times. Why wouldn't you have the major stars all play each other as much as they possibly could? That's all I'm saying.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree with you. But we're in an era of college football, too, where you see it time and time again, especially with the out-of-conference schedule. You mentioned the SEC and their scheduling, how they pick these powder puff games out of conference. And most schools, not all schools, but the majority of the schools, they do is they pick a Division II team. They pick a Louisiana Lafayette to play because they want to beef up their stats. They want to beef up their record a little bit. You don't see an Ohio State out of conference. Well, no, I'm going to take it back because Ohio State usually does play at least one really tough game out of conference. Alabama played one last year, which was the first time in forever that I can remember that they took a tough out of conference game where they played Wisconsin in the opening game. This year they're playing USC. Again, I'll give them credit for it. But, I want to see it consistently. But you're not seeing those big matchups anymore out of conference. You're not seeing a Texas versus Ohio State non-conference game unless you get to a bowl game. And that's something that I think the sport absolutely lacks. And I had somebody tell me before that, why would they schedule these tough games? Because they want to make sure they're in position for the playoff later on, or in line to get their championship later on. But you know what? If you're that good, you'll win that game. Yeah, you want to be tested. The fans want to see these games. They don't want to have to wait till January to sit there and see really good games, really big out-of-conference games. We all know the conference schedules. We all know the conference games that you're going to play year after year after year. Okay, I already know I'm going to see USC and UCLA. I already know I'm going to see Michigan and Ohio State and Auburn and Alabama. Great. Those are going to be awesome games. But what about seeing an Ohio State and UCLA game? Ohio State and Oregon and LSU. You don't see that very often. A few years ago, LSU decided that they were going to schedule Oregon State as kind of a powder puff game, and Oregon's down there at LSU, and Oregon State almost beat them. They lost on a missed field goal at the end of the game. And it's like, those are what makes college football exciting. And that's what I think fans want to see. I know that's what I want to see as a fan. I want to see these tough games. I want to see these teams really be tested and go at it so that when you get to the playoffs, if you're 12-0 or 11-0, whatever you are, that you deserve to be there. There isn't this well, you played a soft schedule. There isn't this, a couple of years ago we were talking about between TCU and Baylor, and when you looked at their schedules, the toughest game between the two of them they had the exact same schedules except for out of conference. And the toughest game either one of those schools played out of conference was a game against Minnesota. That was and I'm sitting here thinking, Minnesota, really? This is going to be the determining factor in whether you get in or not because you scheduled your toughest opponent was Minnesota between both schools? That's laughable to me.
Well, not only is it laughable, another thing about the SEC that I always say to people is I don't want to hear about, your schedule. The SEC has this reputation that is top to bottom, best conference in college. No, it's not, dude. Vanderbilt sucks. Okay, Tennessee can't get their shit together for the last 10 years. I've been waiting for Tennessee to get their shit back together for a decade. Ole Miss was a doormat. Mississippi State was a doormat. Auburn comes up, goes down, comes up, goes down, comes up. Florida was dominant for a good period of time with Urban Meyer there. Alabama, LSU, even Georgia, Georgia just got their coach fired. Because they're losing 3 and 4 games every year. Don't tell me. And not only that, even with Georgia, and I've always had a thing for Georgia players. I really had. No Sean Moreno, Champ Bailey, Hines Ward, Craig Lumpkin, AJ Green. I just always have a thing for Georgia players. I don't know why it is. I loved Herschel Walker when I was a kid. Just something about Georgia's players, like Florida State players. I got a thing for Florida State. Got a little side crush for Florida State. Was a huge fan of Charlie Ward's. That led to guys like Peter Warwick and Tay Coney and Andre Cooper and Andre Wadsworth and all those All-Americans they used to have on the defensive line. And I just, Lavernius Coles. It just steamrolled into me liking certain guys. But Georgia can't even win their big games at home. Name somebody tell me the last big home game Georgia won against an SEC power, and then name me the last road game Georgia's won against a big SEC power. Their name carries weight. Tennessee name, Rocky Top, 108,000 people, 7,000 people in Neyland Stadium. Beautiful bright orange, sits right on the Tennessee River. The gambling, the boats and the yachts pull right into the stadium. Yes, it's beautiful atmosphere. It's beautiful college football. I still like watching it just to hear Rocky Top being played when they make a first down, the checkered end zone. I get it. But they're not winning football games. They're not beating good. They're not even beating good teams. So they're not going to beat great teams. So when you think about schools like that, when you think about some of these schools, Kentucky's in the SEC in football. Guys, like, come on. Like, don't tell me this is the top conference from top to bottom. Just like all conferences, there's 2 great teams, there's 2 or 3 good teams, and then everybody else is 6-6 or worse. Same with the ACC. You have Clemson, Florida State. That's it. But you'll get a tough match from Georgia Tech. You'll get a tough match from UVA. Shit, UVA almost beat Notre Dame last year. You'll get tough games. So it makes them go, well, look how tough their schedule is. They have to go through the SEC, so they don't have to schedule. They're playing VMI. They're playing Middle Tennessee State. They're playing. If I was college football, man, I would say if you finished off in the top 25, tell me how you like this rule. If you finished off in the top 25, you must open up with a bowl-winning team. You cannot play a team that did not win their bowl game. If you are a power conference, it must be a team from a power conference. And that's how you have to start your year every single season. You must play a bowl winner from the previous December and January, and it has the matchup conferences. So if you are LSU, you must play, and I said the division switch. So one year you make the SEC play Pac-12, Big 12 play Big 10, ACC play Conference USA. So if you're in the Big 10 and you want a bowl game, you must play an SEC school or Big 12 or a Big 12 school that won a bowl game. That would make the matchups. That would make the matchups so much easier, so much more competitive in the opening week. It'll put coaches on notice. It'll put kids on notice. It'll put you on notice on them hot summer practice days, man, when you're getting ready in July and August, when no kids are really in class, no one's really on campus but you, the staff and you. Not a lot of kids hanging around. It'll put guys on notice, man, and I think that would be a better way to start off the college football. It'll never happen, but If I'm just playing virtual commissioner here, that's the kind of rule I throw in there, man. What does the commissioner care about? They're looking for more money anyway. I don't care that you have to play a tougher team. Alabama's probably going to win their game. Ohio State's probably going to win their. There's teams that you know are going to win their game, but don't let them play Middle Tennessee State. Don't let them play the Citadel. It's a military school, dude. Like, come on.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. I would love to see a rule similar to that. I know it would be difficult because you got to remember, Vijay, that they schedule their out-of-conference games years in advance. So it's a matter of how they could flip it. But I would absolutely implement a rule where every year you have to play at least one non-conference power school, whether it's, Alabama playing, I keep mentioning Alabama just because they're at the top of my head, but an SEC school playing a Big 12 school or a Big 10 school. We have it in college basketball where you have these conferences that schedule, one game a year against another power conference, and they do it for the whole day. So you have like the SEC versus the Pac-12 or the Big 10 versus the Big 12.
Well, they have the Big 10 ACC Challenge every year.
Absolutely. And there's no reason you can't do that with football. Where one Saturday a year, you schedule it where you've got all your Pac-12 teams are playing an SEC team or an ACC team or, whatever. You can absolutely do it. The bottom line is the money will be there. People are going to tune in. The ratings are going to go through the roof because these are going to be top-notch games that people want to see, that people are going to be excited about. They're not going to be this Alabama and Louisiana Tech. This isn't going to be USC and, the Citadel. Now, I understand these schools like the Citadel and Louisiana Lafayette, they need those games for the financial reasons. I get that. But as a fan, I don't want to see Alabama with three of those games and then conference games. And that's their whole schedule. To me, that's not fun, and that's not college football. That's not what the spirit of college football is all about, in my opinion. So I would like to see at least one power conference game from every team against a non-conference game against another power conference opponent at least once a year. If you do that, I think you're going to get away from, you're going to stop having people say, well, your schedule's too easy. They don't play anybody out of conference. Because then all of a sudden you're going to be playing somebody in conference. Then you get to the end of the year and you're going to sit here and say, okay, Alabama's 12-0 and they beat Oregon State, as their out-of-conference game. Oregon State's, usually a decent school, not a great school, but a decent football program. And that's going to carry some weight, and it's going to carry a lot more weight, than a win over Louisiana Lafayette.
Well, of course, man, Louisiana Lafayette. Like, who are they? Aren't they the Cajuns? Is that even their mascot?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that, man. NBA Finals tonight, man. What do you think is going to play out in this whole thing?
I'm going to stay with where I've been the whole year. I really think it's Golden State. I think Golden State's just too deep. I really do. We've seen kind of a change in Cleveland's style throughout the playoffs, where they're shooting a lot more three-pointers, and they're not pounding the ball inside as much. And I think that's going to come back to hurt them because up to this point in the playoffs, they haven't had to guard anybody on the perimeter. Yeah, they had two games where DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry got off, and they lost both of those games in Toronto. But it wasn't going to be sustainable day in and day out. And when you look at Toronto, you said, okay, you can lock down these two guys, and no one else is really going to hurt it. That's not going to happen with Golden State. If Steph Curry's not on, you've got Klay Thompson to worry about. If he's not on, you've got Harrison Barnes to worry about. If he's not on for whatever reason, you still got Andre Iguodala coming off the bench. You've still got Draymond Green there. You've still got just, Sean Livingston coming off the bench who can give you 20 on any given night. You've got the depth there in Golden State. And to me, a big X factor in this series is going to be Anderson Varejao. He knows the insides and outs of that Cleveland team, specifically LeBron James. The two of them were buddies for years there in Cleveland. Now he's over on the other side with Golden State. I think it's going to be a good series. I think it's going to be fun to watch. But I think Golden State's going to take it. I like their depth better. I think they're a better shooting team. They're not playing the defense they did last year, but they still know how to switch. They still know how to play defense. I think Anderson Varejao is going to come up big in this series. I think Andrew Bogut is going to have times where he steps up and really produces down on the block. And I really like the way that they're made up. 3-point shooting is not Cleveland's game. And the fact is that they've tried to change their style to make it their game. I think it's going to hurt them. Yeah, Kevin Love is healthy and he can shoot. Doesn't play defense. Channing Frye, they added mid-season. Yeah, he can shoot. Doesn't play defense, doesn't rebound. What else does he bring you? J.R. Smith, you never know what you're going to get with him. Same with Iman Shumpert. Kyrie Irving's going to have to be running through screens after screens after screen, whether he's chasing Klay Thompson around, whether he's chasing Steph Curry around. And that's going to slow him up on the offensive side of the ball. Kevin Love's going to have to be tailing Draymond Green or Harrison Barnes around. So who's LeBron going to guard? Is he guarding Steph? Is he guarding Klay? Is he guarding Draymond Green or Harrison Barnes? So he's going to have to be running around it on the defensive side as well. So when I look at it, and I think Golden State is just too tough. I think they're too deep. I think LeBron's going to get his. I think Kyrie's going to have a game or two where he gets off. But I think Golden State wins it. I think they win it in 6.
I would love to pick Golden State in 6, man. Something just tells me that we are going to see, because we've seen really shaky officiating all through these playoffs. I mean, we've seen where guys were stepping over lines and guys have been hit and thrown to the ground, and I mean, just whistles aren't blowing. Guys jump straight up, but they corral their arms forward, which means, that's against the rule. You're supposed to have your arms straight in the air. We've seen that not called. Yep. We've just seen too many things, man, where I said yesterday, the NBA is the only sport in the world where the referees and the officials can control the game and it look normal. Because they've been doing it for so long, we are so used to seeing what a foul is. And I don't know what a foul even is anymore. I don't even know if they even call travel. And that is as horrible as it can get when it comes to officiating. Because one of the first rules that good old Mr. Naismith ever created was the traveling rule. That was the first rule it created. The very fundamental rule of basketball. You must put the ball on the floor between every step. You cannot take more than 2 steps without dribbling the basketball. And there's memes, there's videos. Shaq even has a top 5 traveling every week. The man can find 5 blatant, just horrific travels for a TNT show every single week. And can find 10 if Underdog wanted to do more work for him, and find 10 for him. So when I think about the officiating, it's like people who say, oh, there's no officiating, this or that. Dude, they won't even call traveling. LeBron named a dribble one time his crab dribble. There's no such thing as a damn crab dribble, dude. You're traveling. You're skip hopping and taking 2 steps. That's a travel, dude. So there's no reason for me to believe that the series will be officiated fairly. I'll say it like that. And I say Golden State wins tonight. The Cavs win on Saturday. Golden State will win tonight. And the Cavs are I think game 2 may be Sunday. So if it's Sunday, whatever day it is, the Cavs will win game 2. They needed 1-1 going back to Cleveland, because that's when I believe that if there is going to be shady officiating, it happens back in Cleveland. Yesterday in the show, I told one of my callers, I said, pay attention to games 3 and 4 if they're allowed to pull, hold, and kind of impede the the forward progress of Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. If they're allowed to do that in Cleveland, Cleveland's going to win this series. If they're allowed to do it, because a lot of people thought that's what, in my opinion, that's what gave OKC a 3-1 lead. Nothing gave OKC a 3-1 lead, but the simple fact that they were able to escape out of game 1. They got blown out in game 2, but in games 3 and 4, they were allowed to push, pull, grab, hold up Steph Curry a lot. I went back and watched both games on the advice of a friend of mine. I counted in games 3 and 4, 12 times he picked himself up off the floor without the ball in his hands. That means guys are able to lean on him, push him, trip him up a little bit, muck it up in the middle, which is fine. I'm not complaining about it. But if it's a foul during the regular season, and it's the part of someone's system, then it's definitely a foul. It's definitely a foul in the finals or in the playoffs. So once they were able to do that, once OKC was able to do that, Golden State Warriors, they can't get their shots off because they're not in the flow of their offense. So you got Iguodala shooting more. You have Barbosa coming off the bench and shooting more. Festus Ezeli shooting more. Spate shooting more. I mean, you have players who are not used to taking a lot of big shots that were taking big shots in games 3 and 4. Oklahoma City was hitting everything, and there were no calls against Oklahoma City. They were able to build huge, insurmountable leads, and they won those games. And then at that point, if you watch how as that series changed, if you watch games 4, 5, and 6, there was no more of that. They weren't allowed to really grab him. He was running a lot more free. And, well, what do you know? 31 points, 30 points, 36 points. Klay Thompson mixes in a 29-point game and a 41-point game because they're able to move like you should be able to move on the basketball court and get to their spots and get their shots. So, to sum it up, I'll say if the referees in the NBA leave it alone, I like the Warriors in 7 because I do like Cleveland at full strength. I think J.R. Smith helps win one game. I think LeBron wins one game and wills his team to a win by himself. And I think Kyrie and Love can help win another game. So that's their 3 wins. But if it comes to a game 7 in Oracle, referees swallow the whistles. Draymond's going to be able to be a little more physical and rough. Curry's not trying to go out like that in front of his home crowd. Klay Thompson, everything. If they don't win it again, it'll be exactly what the Pistons said in 30 for 30 and their 30 for 30 bad boys about beating Portland. Because Portland was picked to beat the Pistons in that series, if you don't remember. And also, people thought Portland had a shot against Chicago 2 years later. 2 years later, they were right back in the finals again. That Rick Adelman-led team was a great basketball team. They just ran into Isaiah Thomas and the bad boys trying to prove that year against the Lakers wasn't a fluke. And they were also trying to prove that second time around that the Bulls were trying to prove to them that first ring wasn't a fluke, that they beat the Lakers. So I think that's what Golden State has on their shoulders. If they don't win it, their championship last year won't be validated. I'll say it like that. People won't put validation on that year. They'll always be able to go, well, LeBron didn't have Love and Kyrie, and when he did, they lost. So it totally takes the validation away from that one ring, and that would have happened to the Pistons in 80 and 90. If the Pistons don't win that championship that year, the one they won the previous year against the Lakers, because people say, well, Kareem was kind of older and Magic didn't play his best. They wouldn't have been validated as champions. I believe nowadays you got to win back to back, man. You've got to win back to back because one year kind of looks like, it's the way we judge the NBA. We always think somebody gets lucky. You know, we always want to say, oh, they got lucky last year because they didn't have to play San Antonio. Well, tell San Antonio to get out of the first round. Or this year I hear, well, the Spurs didn't have to play, the Warriors didn't have to play the Spurs. Well, they beat them 3 times in the regular season. 2 times they beat the shit out of them. And then the Spurs lost in 6 to go to Oklahoma City. So, I mean, even what you're saying there doesn't make any sense. Tell the Spurs to win their games. So, I will say this about Golden State. Their path has been tougher. I think that's what prepares them for the finals. I did watch the pressers yesterday. I thought LeBron James stayed very classy when asked about his comments and the shade he threw at Steph Curry. He actually apologized for it. He said, I shouldn't have said. He said, first of all, I apologize for saying that. First of all, I shouldn't even have said that because I knew where it was going to go. But the way it was probably delivered to him, no, it wasn't the way it was delivered to him, LeBron. It was your facial expression and the way you said it. Rolling your eyes, kind of, curling your lips like, I mean, if you want to have a different perspective on who the best player and MVP really is. No, you said it. Now, I appreciate the fact that he came. I said, I shouldn't even have said that, man. My bad, whatever. That's the part of LeBron I like. When you can be real enough, dude, and be classy. And LeBron's normally a really classy guy. That's why I was so surprised that he threw shade at stuff like that. Because when LeBron won MVP, you didn't hear any NBA players come out trying to throw shade at LeBron. Everybody understands what it is. It's his time. It's his world. We're just all living in it right now, trying to get some championships and keeping this guy from racking up a bunch of them. Everybody did it against Jordan. Everybody wanted to beat Bird. Everybody wanted to beat Magic. Everybody wanted to beat Shaq and Kobe. Everybody in the Western Conference wants to beat the Spurs. I mean, there's a part of you that competitive spirit is there, but guys win awards. I'm just on the edge of. I'm just always on the side of. Hey, man, he's the best player. Congratulations to him. I got a team over here to run. We're looking to get a championship. We've had a great year. I mean, any of my guys could have won MVP. Ha ha ha. Blah blah blah. Make light hard of it or something. But But I did watch all the pressers yesterday. You can see everybody's very focused. Kyrie Irving was very very monotone. Kyrie Irving looks very locked in. Steph and those guys are very real about it. Klay Thompson talked about, he was asked about why people hate on Steph so much. He was very honest about his answer. And he said, listen, it's the older generation. I'm probably going to hate on the younger generation too when I get old. I thought it was a great presser. You can tell everybody is excited about being here. You could tell that the Cavs want this because they weren't at full strength last year. And you could tell Golden State wants this because they're tired of hearing that the Cavs weren't at full strength last year.
Oh, absolutely. We talked about it earlier in the year. Golden State looked like they were on a mission from day one. They looked like they had a chip on their shoulder, and they weren't afraid to use it, and they weren't afraid to go out and get it. And that was something that that was really good. But you talked about the point of validation. Not only does Golden State need to win this championship to validate their championship last year, they need to win this championship to validate the season that they've had. Because if they don't, all you're going to hear is, yeah, they won 73 games, but they choked when they mattered most. That's all you're going to hear. And you're going to have the people who want to talk about the Bulls record and this record and that record, and they're going to say, hey, yeah, they won 73, but they didn't finish. So were they really that great? Were they that better than that Lakers team that won the 67 games and went to beat the Celtics in the playoffs in 85? You're going to start to hear the comparisons. Well, were they really that great? So this championship and this run means a lot to the legacy of Golden State. Absolutely. You talk about validation. Golden State needs this for validation for lots of reasons, and it goes just beyond the validating of the championship last year. If Klay Thompson and Steph Curry want to validate their legacies, and it's a little early to talk about legacies with these two, but I'll tell you what, these two guys are so good, they can really start to build their legacy right here, right now. They've got to win the championship.
They have to. Yeah, I believe they have to. And I told people, look, in my opinion, LeBron is so Teflon. LeBron doesn't need any more championships. There'll still be people that will argue that he's better than Kobe or he's the best all-around player or he's close to Jordan and things like that. So I never felt like after the two in Miami, I said, well, all he needed was one. His fan base is so irrational. All he needed was one. It was almost like with Brett Favre. It's like we love Brett Favre. We want to say greatest this or greatest that. The guy's got one Super Bowl, and the other Super Bowl he went to, he lost. And in the Super Bowl that he won, he wasn't even an MVP. I'm just calling what it is. He wasn't even an MVP. It was Desmond Howard. Desmond Howard was the game's MVP. Desmond Howard turned that game on its head with his kick return and his punt return for touchdowns in that game. And Andre Rison and Antonio Freeman just balled out of control. But you'll have his fan base. They will just always, it doesn't matter that one ring. That's what I always say about Dan Marino. If I could have just got one ring, just one, everybody would consider Dan Marino one of the best quarterbacks, top 2 or 3 of all time. There would be nobody to answer because we do it with Brett Favre. We do it with Peyton Manning when he won his first ring. We do it with a lot of guys. I always look at guys like I'm going to go, of course, unite us out of history and respect. And then you have Brady up there because he's got the 4. And you have Joe Montana because Joe Montana's got 4. I mean, at the end of the day, man, like those are the guys. Why? They won it 4 times. You know how hard it is to get the 4 Super Bowls? And do you know how hard it is to win 4? Look at Buffalo. Buffalo got the 4. Yeah, they lost all 4 of them. And then we're given a 30 for 30 for it. Like we celebrate losing. There's nothing prideful to say, oh, I went to 4 straight. No, nobody's, who the hell's, come on, man. Oh, I was in high school. I played in 3 straight state championship games. And you lost all 3. What the hell does that mean?
And you know what? Al Bundy scored 4 touchdowns in 1 game. What does it mean?
Absolutely. And they never even, and Al Bundy, you know what's so funny about that line? He never even mentions whether they won the game or not.
No, he never does.
He never does.
He never does.
7 seasons of Married with Children, and I never know whether Al Bundy won the damn game. He scored 4 touchdowns in high school football.
No, I do know that Al Bundy supposedly won 1 championship, but even that was under controversy. You might remember the episode where he went one-on-one with the late, great Bubba Smith.
Bubba Smith, absolutely, absolutely.
And if you remember that scene, I just saw it the other day. That scene is absolutely fantastic where Bubba Smith, his arm's coming out, and you see Al Bundy and looking at his arm, and his tongue, he brings his tongue out, his eyes get all white, takes a big old bite out of Bubba Smith's arm. And it is just a great, great scene. But you know what? We're talking about
Al Bundy's knee. His knee was almost down too, and then he got that last minute grit and powered right through Big Bubba Smith to score that touchdown that they said he never scored back in. Yeah, I remember that scene, man. That scene. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. Is Married with Children. I love that show.
Oh, absolutely. I'll tell you what. I just bought it this past December. I bought the whole series while I was working over at Best Buy. We had it on sale. I said we had one left. I'm like, oh, I'm buying this. And I went home and I've been watching it ever since. I'll tell you what, man. But, absolutely, Golden State needs this. People want to talk about LeBron and, the 6 straight finals. That's a great accomplishment. That's an absolute great accomplishment. But let's stop acting as if he did it by himself. When he did it with Cleveland before, he didn't have the supporting cast he had now. Okay, fine. I'll give you that one. He goes to Miami, they go to 4 straight. He had Chris Bosh. He had Dwayne Wade. Udonis Haslem was in the prime of his career. He had Mikey Miller. You had Ray Allen. You had players down there. He didn't do it by himself.
Shane Battier, one of the better defenders and three-point shooters in the league.
Oh, and clutch three-point shooters. I mean, this guy, I would put him up there clutch shooting-wise with guys like Robert Horry. Those are the type of guys that you need that are going to hit the clutch shot when you need it. And he's going to be that calming presence, and he doesn't need the ball to affect the game. And that's what Shane Battier was as a player. So he was on those teams. You got these 2 teams in Cleveland. Now, I know Kyrie was hurt. He didn't get hurt until the finals. You had Kevin Love, who was hurt. Yeah, he got hurt in the second round of the playoffs last year against the Chicago Bulls. But don't forget, Pau Gasol also got hurt in that series. Derrick Rose was also hurt in that series. You still had Kyrie Irving. So let's not act like LeBron James got there all by himself. And that's the thing that I think it really bothers me.
That's just what LeBron fans do, man. I'm so numb to that. That's just what it is. I don't even talk about the 6 straight finals. A guy tried to bait me into a conversation online the other day. I didn't even respond to him. I just simply said, it's a good accomplishment, man. 6 straight finals. I mean, I would love to be in the NBA knowing that I'm going to play in the finals every year. And, I don't, because if you go, everybody... Listen, one thing I hate, as I said before, convenient stupidity. It drives me nuts, especially in sports. If you are going to lean on that as a fan, then, dude, why would I even talk to you? If I can't even get you to admit that the East is weak and there's really... This year, there was no competition to his team this year. Last year, a lot of people wanted to think it was going to be the Hawks, but you could clearly see that Cleveland was a better basketball team. Year before that, it was supposed to be the Pacers, but we know Roy Hibbert's head wasn't together because a teammate was screwing his wife. The year before that, it was supposed to be the Celtics, and the Celtics were up 3-2. They had that series in hand, and they let LeBron do some outlandish greatness, legendary LeBron James type shit. He went up to the Garden and what was it, 45, 15, and 12 or 11 or something ridiculous like that in the game where they kind of thought they had him down, and it showed. He showed some toughness. That's when LeBron showed some mental toughness the very few times when he's in the playoffs and there's deep controversy. He hit a shot in the corner to win a game last year to keep that series from going 3-1 and make it in a 2-2 series against Chicago at the buzzer where Black wanted him to inbound the ball and LeBron said, no, dude, I'm not inbounding shit. I'm LeBron James, man. I'm definitely... I'm taking this shot, so I'm not inbounding, but which was fine. I didn't even beat him up. People, oh, look at him. He undermines his coach. There's some people out there that don't like him that just say ridiculous shit, and there's some people out there that love the dude that say ridiculous shit. You're going to get it from both edges. I try to stay in the middle. I make it very clear I'm not a LeBron James fan. I make it very clear that his fan base is irrational. I make it very clear that I don't think he's Magic or Bird or Kobe or Jordan or Dr. J or, there's a lot of players. LeBron, he's a great basketball player. But once again, we live in an era of where, everything we have to see today is the greatest thing where we do it in music, we do it with television, we do it with movies. I'm starting to look at a lot of even like superhero movies and people are like, oh, that movie's great. I'm like, dude, we're just saying that because we live in this time. A lot of these movies are not good, man. A lot of the, even characters I like. I love Spider-Man. But those two they just did with the guy from Europe, with the English dude, those are horrible. You have Jamie Foxx playing Electro. I mean, those movies were horrible. And I love Spider-Man. But we do it, and we always have to be in the realm of this is the best. Look what social media does to us. Look what talk radio does. Look what these things that are all out today they are designed and conditioned to tell us, are conditioned to tell us that whatever we see today is the best. Likes, votes, comments, any of that stuff that's out today is conditioned for people to unleash what they feel at the moment. We are an immediate gratification type society. I believe so. I think that's accurate to say. So therefore, that's what we go for. We talk about yesterday. We were talking about legends. We missed the name yesterday. Bo Jackson. Like, there's not a running back today, including Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson's not a legend, dude. You didn't watch Walter. You didn't see. You must have forgot what Barry Sanders used to do. You must have forgot Bo Jackson used to show up with no training camp. With no training camp. In October every year when his team would get eliminated from the playoffs or from the regular season or eliminated from playoff contention and just walk onto the field. Bo Jackson is the reason why the Raiders finally said, all right, Marcus, you can go to Kansas City. You know, we don't need you anymore. We have this Bo guy. I mean, when you talk about things of today, I'm just always just quick to say, man, that we must relax. And to your point about LeBron James and the six finals appearances winning Eastern Conference, it is what it is. I don't even want to throw shade at it because it is a great accomplishment. And at this point, if you're the fan that doesn't realize that the East is some shit, then why am I even talking to you? Because if you can't admit that, you're not going to admit anything.
Oh, no question. Absolutely question. It's a great accomplishment, but you have to put it in perspective. You have to be real about the circumstances. It's like I said before. Yeah, it's a great accomplishment, and people say, look, he got those teams to the finals. Yeah, but what does it say about the East that he was able to get through the East and get those teams to the finals? There's a reason. So people have to understand there's two sides to the coin here, people. LeBron James is a good player. He's a great player. Hall of Fame player. There's no question about it. I'm not arguing that. The guy's gotten better. When he came in the league, you've mentioned it before. I've mentioned it before. Was not a great shooter. Was a good passer. Could penetrate. Was an okay defender. But now he's a really good defender. He's a good shooter. Not a great shooter, but he's a good shooter. He's good enough you have to respect his shot. Despite the fact he hasn't shot well this year, this postseason, from the arc, you've got to respect his shot. The guy's a phenomenal specimen. But don't forget the history. Don't forget to do your research. We talked about that a lot yesterday. When you start looking back at the history of the NBA, you start looking at the Jerry West, the Elgin Baylors, the Bob Cousy's, the Chamberlains, the Bill Russells, the Oscar Robertsons, the Magic and the Birds, the Barkleys and the Isaiahs. You've got to look at all these guys and put things in perspective. And you asked me a question yesterday about Elgin Baylor, about why he didn't get as much run. I mentioned how, it was a lot of it's the TV and how, you couldn't see a lot of the games. Here's another reason he didn't get a lot of the pub. He was the number 3 guy on his team. Think about that for a minute. You had Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain as a 1 and 2, and then you had Elgin Baylor as your 3, your number 3rd option. That's another reason why people say, well, maybe he wasn't as good, or they forget how good he really was. He didn't have to put up astronomical numbers. He put up really, really good numbers if you go look at him. But he didn't have to carry his team, but he had the skills to do it. And that was the other thing that people kind of forget about him. I kind of put him in the same breath as I do James Worthy, in the sense that when you think about James Worthy, people forget how good he really was as a basketball player because he played with Magic and Kareem, and so he was the number 3 guy again. But the way he took over the finals in '87, and the way he had plays in '85 in the finals, both against the Celtics, the Lakers don't win the championships without him. They won, I think, 1, maybe 2 before they drafted him. But they don't win the rest without him. He had a toughness. He could score. He could play D. And he was somebody else you had to account for, respect. And that's what made him a Hall of Famer. And a lot of people like to say, oh, he was only that good because he played with Magic and he played with Kareem. And it irritates the hell out of me because nobody in the history of the NBA, outside of maybe the 2004 Pistons, very few teams have won an NBA championship without having stars on your team. And you have to have the right collection of stars. It's not just getting the 3 greatest stars out there. You've got to have the right collection of stars and the right collection of people. And the Lakers had that. The one true team I can sit here and honestly say won it without a star or with maybe smaller stars is the 2004 Detroit Pistons. Rip Hamilton was a stud. Tayshaun Prince was a stud. Chauncey Billups, one of my favorite players to play in the last 15 years. But were they necessarily all-star, consistent all-star caliber players? I don't know. I would tend to say no. But they were good players. They played their roles very, very well. They played as a team very, very well, and they knew how to win. And that's the difference between, good teams, great teams, and then just individuals.
Appreciate the love, baby. I'm about to wrap up today's show. Not going too long today, man. I want to get ready for these finals tonight. Got some things I got to get out of here and handle and take care of. My car. My new car is having some issues. I'm about to go out. I figure out what's going on with it, but I'm going to go out here and handle that. And who do you have tonight, man? And also, too, really quick, yesterday, UCLA, how sad was that, dude?
When I heard that, I saw Raynell put the post on while we were on the show, and I was just like, wow, another one. And then to go and hear it's about a kid who didn't get the grades that he thought he deserved, had an argument with this professor, and goes and does that. I mean, it's absolutely horrible. What happened to hard work? What happened to really giving it your all and trying? And you know what? I understand professors are not always 100% right. I get that. They're human. They make mistakes too. But to go to that extent, to have such an argument, I can't imagine being so angry with somebody at any level to want to go and do something like that. And it just absolutely sickens me. And I was just reading before I came on the air that supposedly there was a kill list that he had. And apparently there were more names on that list that he just didn't get to. So the fact that it was just this student who went after his teacher, and it was just those two that were killed, I don't want to sit here and say that's, I don't want to throw shade and be like, no, that's acceptable, because it's not in any way, shape, or form. My heart goes out to the family of that professor. My heart goes out to the family of the student. The fact that the student felt so distraught and felt so strongly about this that it drove him to do this, to commit murder and then kill himself.
Man. What type of pressure? I told Ray Nell yesterday, we were talking, I said, you got to think, what type of pressure could have been? Because, of course, it's easy to go, well, this kid's crazy. And no, man, we as the adults, we need to stop trying to blame children and release blame from ourselves, because we're the ones that are setting up the future. I believe things are learned behavior, and they're learned from some way, somehow. Nobody wakes up and just thinks of stuff on their own. Stuff is learned, whether it's war or killing or friendship or sex or dating or job or, looking for a job. Things are learned behaviors. No matter what you do, you're getting it from somewhere. And it's like, I said, think about what type of pressure might have been on this kid from the school or from his parents or from the professor. Even the video that they caught of him walking through, I guess it looked like a cafeteria or some type of maybe outdoor type sitting quad area with benches and plants and stuff, where they caught him. He's dressed in black tactical gear. He's got a hood on. He's walking around with a fully automatic rifle just in his hand in the open. Like, he was there to do business, man. He wasn't there to play around, and he didn't try to be discreet about it. This kid rolled up on campus, walked and fought and went to the building where this professor was, and walked in there and in an office where he was sitting and murdered that dude and just shot and killed him. But when I heard, I'm like you, when I heard it was over grades, I'm like, oh my Lord. Jesus, please help us. Where are we at in society where there is this type of pressure? And I don't know the whole story, but if it was over grades and the dude had a kill list, I mean, what is this kid? Is this bullying? Was he being mistreated when he was there? Was he being, this is a big story because it could go so many ways. Normally when people show what a kill, it's like the Columbine kids. They started killing people because they felt like they were picked on. They felt like the athletes acted a certain way towards kids that were like them. Like, this was thought out. This wasn't just, I'm going to go to school, I'm mad at this moment. No, these kids sat around and thought about this shit and thought about what they wanted to do and, and kill this man. So, yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, because once the story broke out a little later, I was off the air yesterday by that time.
I'll tell you what, Vijay, it scares me to death. My wife is a teacher here at a local elementary school. My daughter, 9 years old, is just finishing up third grade. Her last year of third grade is tomorrow. And it scares me to think that just dropping them off at work and at school, there's a possibility of something like this happening. A couple of years ago, when my daughter was in kindergarten, I dropped her off at school. I got a phone call about an hour later from a friend of mine who was a police officer over at Cal State Northridge. And he gives me a call and he says, hey, have you gone to pick up your daughter yet? I said, no, I haven't gone to pick her up. I haven't heard anything at the school. Why, what's going on? And he says, look, call me when you get in the car and just go pick her up right now. said, okay. So I get in my car, I start heading over there, and I give him a call. And he tells me there was a note written on campus in the back. Someone had gone and graffitied the back of the school, and it said, all the kids will die at 2 o'clock today. Okay. Someone had gone and painted that on the back of the school. And apparently there were swastikas painted. There was lots of other stuff painted over there. I roll up to the school. There's at least 6 cop cars. They're evacuating the school as quickly as possible. They had changed the school so that everybody was getting out at 12 o'clock. They were notifying parents. And you could only go get your child with an ID in the office and pull them out of school that way. I'll tell you what. I called into my work. I said, I'm not coming in today. I said, we've got this situation going on. Because then the rumor was also that there was multiple schools involved with the possibility of something happening. And one of them was my wife's school. I have never been so scared in my entire life. Never. And the thought that I have to sit here and think about that when my wife goes to work or when my daughter goes to school, that we live in a day and age that somebody could just do something and they're not even safe there. I tell you what, man, it's a scary time.
Nah, it's a super scary time, brother. Listen, man, God bless. Enjoy your day, man. Blessings to your lovely wife and Abby. Tell Abby, VJs and Sportsline Conduct, said hello to her. And I'll be checking out the game tonight, man. I'll be in touch. Also, awesome wrestling show last night, man. I enjoyed getting back on. I definitely made sure I got on last night because I know I haven't done like the last few. And you're always calling in and supporting my show, man. So I wanted to make sure I got in and did your show last night. I had a good time. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. It was a great time. It was great to be back on, talk some wrestling with yourself and Michael Mays. It was great. I had a blast. And you know what? We were talking last night about Lucha Underground. I actually saw a post that they're going to be filming next weekend over in Boyle Heights, but I'm going to be out of town. So
I might go. Send me that info because I want to go.
All right, yeah. It's on my Instagram feed. I will take a screenshot of it for you, and I'll text it to you in just a little bit.
Yeah, text that to me, man. I'll force Raynell to come sit through it with me.
There you go, man. All right, man.
All right, brother. Enjoy your week. Hey, have a good one, man.
You too, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bro. My man Louis Estrada from Estrada Sports House, also Time Warner Sports. Good stuff, man. Great show today. I love doing my show, man. I love talking to you guys. I don't want to bear you guys out. Yesterday we did 2.5 hours. Today, hour and 45 minutes. There's not a lot to talk about the finals tonight, guys. We know what this is. We've been waiting on this. This is the matchup everybody's wanted. We know we're going to get. If the coaches have to write anything on the board now, then why are they even there? If Tyronn Lue and Kerr have to write anything on a dry erase board now, guys, what are we doing? Golden State knows who they are. The Cleveland Cavaliers know who they are. Everybody else knows exactly who they are. And, it's on. I mean, this is what everybody's been waiting on. I'm still kind of flip-flopping as far as this whole love for basketball that I used to have. And the NBA is kind of really destroying that for me, man. I guess I still love college basketball, but I know that they're fraudulent and they're point shaving down there too, probably more than the NBA, because nobody's paying attention to the Montana Nevada game, the UNLV and Colorado State game, but you can make money on it and you can, point shave here and there, make a few bucks on it, I'm still kind of lukewarm with my feelings as far as basketball. I still will watch the finals. I should just go hard and say, you know what? I'm not watching the finals and not watch any game of the finals. But then what am I going to watch? I'm just stuck with the Stanley Cup. And Carl says watch WNBA. No, thank you, Carl. I'm okay. I can't. I've tried, guys. I have tried to watch the WNBA. I have tried to get the WNBA shot. I just can't. It's not entertaining to me. I don't know why. I just don't know why. I just can't. So, I will leave you guys with my prediction. I will say Warriors in 6. If the referees let things play out and don't get involved and call what you're supposed to call, keep this thing clean. Draymond, keep it clean. Verjao, I think Verjao was brought over for. I think Verjao was sent over by LeBron. I think LeBron sent him over on purpose just to find out, get on their insides and find out what's going on and what they got going so they can beat them in the finals. But I think Cleveland will play well, guys. But I don't know if I trust Kevin Love's defense. I don't know if I trust Channing Frye's defense. I know those guys can score, but they don't play D. And if you're going to try to match scoring with Golden State, I'll take Golden State every time because that's what's been proven over the last 26 months. So, Harbaugh and Saban, college football is heating up. OTAs are getting started this weekend. Pay attention to your team. We'll talk about that. There's also a friendly today, really good friendly between England and Portugal. You're going to get some major stars in that soccer matchup. I believe the Copa de America starts tomorrow. That's going to be outstanding. We're going to get USA and Colombia. We play Colombia, USA. Yeah, right. We suck at men's soccer. Our men's soccer team is some shit. I don't understand why people get all hyped up and get excited about our women's soccer team. Absolutely. Men's soccer team, what the hell? There's no way I think I would ever get hyped up for unless they start to really show some improvement. And honestly, they just don't. They just don't seem to really show any improvement ever. Like ever. Every time I'm watching, I'm like, damn, are they gonna get better? Are they gonna? I mean, we're losing to Guatemala. Like, I don't care if it is just a friendly. We're not supposed to lose to them teams, man. Great show this week, guys. You guys know the deal for tomorrow, man. We might be in, might not sure yet. Have a night gig now. Doing more things, trying to evolve my life and evolve my brand, man. I want to thank all my guests this week, all the callers, all the chat box people, everybody that's been supporting my show. We just cracked 9,000 listens. I was trying to get to 10,000 before we got to NABJ in DC. Looks like I might be able to get close to about 12 to 13,000, which is a blessing. I'm able to market myself. I'm a great salesman. I'm telling y'all, I'm showing up to DC. Somebody giving me a job. Somebody's gonna look at me and say, you know what? We can do something with this kid. Obviously, he's not afraid to work. He's not afraid to do his own thing. He's not afraid to be outspoken. He's not afraid to hustle and put in the hard work that it takes, consistent work to get to where he's trying to get. So somebody's gonna see it. I'm ready, man. I am so ready. I am so ready for NABJ. I'm very excited. It's in my hometown. Very excited. Very excited. Love you guys. God bless. That's it, man. Do with it what you will. I'll see y'all next week, man. VJ's on Sportsmanlike Conduct. Live, Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio. Keep listening, guys. I need clicks. Click, 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 click. Everybody, I need some clicks. Clicks, 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 clicks.
The same old niggas that ratted. Who cares? Talk about how we hawk niggas and they fucking back.
Gun works official, but niggas don't be wanting that.
Why?
Cause they puss and they mans is lame.
So for real in the hood, we make candy rain.
I could easily send you to God.
But come and see me at the Plaza Hotel. I might give you a job. If you can't remember the name, all you gotta do is ask the dame for the niggas that the